Hey guys, Talkaholics, thank you guys for being here today. It's been about a month since I talked about A2 milk. I know there's been a lot of interest in this company, so I thought I'd make an update. First of all, I wanted to say that this is not investment advice, that you should do your own research, you should do your own due diligence. A lot of the things that I talk about on this channel, I think appeal to a more experienced investor. I talk a lot about oil, I talk about copper, I talk about commodities, I talk about shipping, I've talked about a few other companies here and there. And I get the vibe, and I don't know that this is true or false, so maybe you let me know if this is completely disparaging to you. I get the vibe that a lot of the people who are interested in A2 milk, many of them are probably not the most experienced of investors. So I want to iterate that you as an investor should do your own research. You can use some of my opinions to form your own thoughts, see if they make sense, but it shouldn't be the basis for your investment decision. So hopefully this is what I'm doing, this is what I think, and this is me. And if I make money or if I lose money, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't affect your decision to do the same or to do something completely different. All right, so this channel, every time when I start a video, you see this flashy little intro. It says this is Stockaholics and I'm a contrarian investor. That is true some of the time. I don't always do investment decisions that are exclusively contrarian or going against the crowd, but this is definitely one of those investments that would meet that criteria. I wanted to share my thoughts around that. First of all, why, what's the point of being a contrarian? Why wouldn't you just go with the flow? You know, if you listen to a lot of technical analysis experts, they'll say stuff like, well, you should chase the trend, you should chase momentum, things like that, right? And you know, that maybe that's a valid strategy. Maybe you want to chase price movements. That's just not for me. The reason I like to be a contrarian investor is because of asymmetry. But the thing is, most of the time, being a contrarian, you're actually wrong. General consensus is usually correct. The crowd tends to be often most of the time. Occasionally, though, they're wrong. But if you're a contrarian in those rare circumstances where the crowd is incorrect, there's the potential for something called asymmetry, where the rewards far exceed the outside risk. And for me, one of the things that I think in this company is I think that general consensus on this company, I think general consensus in the share price is wrong. I think that's what I'm going to be talking about a little bit in this video. To kind of give a little context maybe on that last idea that I was talking about, last year was a very strange year in 2020. There was a lot of things that took place that all at once that kind of really changed trading environments, investing environments, however you want to see that. One of the things that I follow closely, well, two segments actually. I follow tankers and I follow oil, right? Which I mentioned a little bit before. When these share prices did a certain thing after the COVID situation, where they were collapsing, when oil prices went negative for a while, you saw all of these kinds of opinions and negative sentiment and all of these secular kind of ideas were coming out of the woodwork that didn't exist prior to that, where there were people that were saying, you know, oil is dead, there's renewable energy that's taking place, that's replacing this energy source, that it means that if you're investing in oil, you're an idiot. And one of my friends at the time told me the same thing, and I was like, I don't care, you know, I'm buying oil. Nobody wants it. They're underemphasizing the importance of it. They're overreacting to what's happening in the present, and it turns out, I was absolutely right. Same thing with copper a year ago. Some of the stocks that I purchased during that time when nobody wanted them, almost all of them doubled. You look at tankers. One of the companies that I purchased a year ago is called Scorpio Tankers. I sold it before a lot of other people. There's still people that hold it today, but today it's trading at 3 times the price of when I purchased it. And what I really wanted I'm not trying to brag or anything. What I'm trying to say is that you'll hear all of these opinions coming out of the woodwork that don't really match reality. There's things people that tend to emphasize a secular change when that's not really the case. And I get the same vibe, the same thing that I noticed a year ago with a lot of those companies. I get the same feeling with this company. When the people say the birth rates in China, there's a secular change taking place. Maybe not, right? For me, the main thing that I like to see in China for a company like this is an increase in incomes, increase in the middle class, right? And recently, by the way, there's been news that came out where China released a 3-child policy instead of a 2-child policy. Now, I don't fall in the camp that says that's going to meaningfully increase birth rates. It might in the interim, it might in the short term, maybe, anybody's guess. But for me, my hypothesis, the reason for investing in this company doesn't really have a lot to do with increasing or decreasing birth rates in China. It's more to do with rising incomes and rising middle class in China. But that's one example of those secular trends. Recently, though, there's a company called Oatly, right, that came out. And I get the same kind of vibes when I hear people with this company. They look at the share price on a company like Oatly, and they say the same kind of things they're saying about oil a year ago. It's like Oatly's the future. If you're investing in A2 milk, you have to keep in mind the negative environmental consequences that milk has. That cattle, there's methane production. It's the same kind of FUD, the same kind of nonsense that I heard when I was investing in some of my most successful investment decisions of all time. So, for me, A2, is there a secular change happening? Maybe. It could be, but more likely, what is this? What is really affecting this company? And to me, it is most likely still just the COVID environment, the COVID lockdowns, the lack of the Diagao channel that exists in Australia. And just like we start to see sentiment shifting with the introduction of the 3-child policy, for me, it's like, this is just like a no-brainer. It's like, what's going to happen when people start to realize what's happening with Australia? At a certain point, there's going to be enough people who are vaccinated in Australia. I've read some articles recently, and maybe you guys can let me know what's sentiment in Australia. I live in the United States, so maybe I'm not the best at gauging that, but from the articles I've been reading, I've seen a lot of businesses starting to push back. They're saying, why are we still closed in Australia? Most of our at-risk population is vaccinated. This is that thing I talk about in a lot of my videos. There's that pendulum, right? It goes to a certain length, and then people say, hey, what's going on? And then eventually that pendulum swings back. And I think what's going to happen with that pendulum swinging the other direction is there's the potential for Australia's borders opening early. And what that means in terms of A2 share price, to me, that's like a free call option. All right, so when I first discovered A2 milk, I don't know, about a year ago or so, I found it when I was looking through the OTC exchange. I was reading through hundreds and hundreds of companies. And when I first saw this company, I was looking at their revenues, their earnings, their growth at the time. And I was like, wow, this is an amazing company for a milk company, right? But when I saw it before at the time, I was like, this company's just overvalued. It's too expensive. I was like, this is cool. Maybe I'll put this on the after. Maybe I'll go look at this later. But but it was just too expensive for me. I was like, okay, this is cool, but not for me. It's a growth company that's in milk, right? Okay, maybe, but the price just doesn't justify me buying it at this point. The prices today on this company are very, very attractive to value investors. So I think what's starting to happen with this company, and this isn't a fact, this is just my opinion, I think that it's starting to attract value investors at the current levels. So a lot of the peoples who were interested in this company, who saw it as a growth stock, they have sold, they panic sold, they couldn't deal with the loss of a 75%, whatever it was from the peak to now. I think a lot of those people are gone. And I think what's starting to happen, I think that people are starting to realize, just like that happened a year ago, a lot of the situations that are happening in this company are probably extrinsic factors. And at the same time, the price for this company is not necessarily reflective of what I believe the value of this company is. So I think there's a discrepancy there. I think you're starting to see a new kind of investor getting involved with this company that probably didn't exist before. All right, so the last video or so, or since the last video I made, there was a bunch of assholes, a bunch of dickheads that came out of the woodwork. Maybe a lot of those Oatly investors, who knows? They came out of the woodwork attacking me and saying what an idiot I was. Oh, fair point. I'm an idiot. Great. Even though I think a lot of us predicted that a fourth downgrade was very likely, but fair enough. The share price moved in the direction you thought it would move, right? But I think what this company represents, and I think about a lot of things in terms of poker. And if you don't know why I would think of that, that's a lot of the background that I have before I started my investing career. A lot of the things I think about are in terms of bets. And to me, yeah, there is a lot of unknowns in this company. There's a lot of unknowns in a lot of companies, right? If you look at the shipping industry, it's the same thing, right? But what this is to me, what this company represents, there are certain positions, there are certain things that you notice, there's certain spots that you are in and that you have an edge. There's just there's patterns that you recognize. There's things that you understand that okay, if I make XYZ decision in this position, in the long run, I'm likely to make money. And that's what this company really also reminds me of. I could flip a coin and on, say, Daigao is coming back or it's not. I could flip another coin and I could say, heads or tails. Okay, China sales are going to replace Daigao, or I could say heads or tails. Australia borders are going to open in the next 6 months. There's a lot of these kinds of unknown variables, and that I think is kind of causing a lot of investors to shy away when they probably once they would probably be in this stock. But the thing is, the stock is pricing in a lot of these variables not existing. What happens when some of these variables come to fruition? That it's like I mentioned a little bit. It's like a free call option. It's like it's just like something where if I'm wrong, okay, maybe there's 25-50% downside at current valuations, and if I'm right, then there's 100, 200, 300% upside from current valuations, right? So yeah, maybe it is a gamble, but it's a gamble I'm willing to take. It's just like it's the downside doesn't commensurate with the upside at these levels. But again, this is not investment advice. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd be happy to hear all kinds of opinions. If you think Fihei is taking market share, if you think Oatly is the future, if you think whatever else, I'd be happy to hear it. In fact, I really do. I would love hearing criticisms. I love respectful and fair criticisms that don't attack your personal character. All right. Hope you guys have a great week.